As ukulele players, we have two different ways that we organize the strings on the ukulele. One is by using numbers, and one is by using letters or note names. Let's talk about using numbers first. It's actually the more simple way of the two. On the ukulele, we obviously have 4 strings, and we number them 1, 2, 3, and 4. The confusing part is, which one do we call 1 and which one do we call 4? Because I can start either at the top or the bottom. The trick is, always start at the bottom. So whatever string is closest to the ground is string 1. Just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are our 4 strings. String 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now notice there's a pattern here in the 4 strings that gets broken by that 4th. Here's what I mean. String 2 is a little bit thicker than string 1. And string 3 is a little bit thicker than string 2. But string 4 is thinner than string 3. So it goes thicker, 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 thinner. Just like that. That's how we number our strings, strings 1 through 4. Now let's talk about how we name our strings using letters. When we think about naming our strings using letters, we're referring to the letters of the notes in the scale that string sounds when it's in tune. So, for example, look at string number 1. String number 1, when I pluck it, should sound an A, the A note. Look at worksheet number 2 to help clarify what I mean. String 1 should sound the note A. If it doesn't, well, that means that it's out of tune. But we still call it the A string. String 2, when it's in tune, will sound an E note. String 3, a C, and then string 4, a G. So we call those strings A, E, C, G. I had to hesitate there for a second because when we as ukulele players name our strings according to their note names, we name them from the top down, not the bottom up. So we call it G, C, E, A. So if somebody were to come up to you and say, hey, how do you tune a ukulele? You'd say G, C, E, A, not A, E, C, G. Make sense? Let's talk about how we actually go about tuning the ukulele. So if our string number 1, our A string, is no longer sounding an A, if it's too high or too low, we adjust the tension here by turning our tuning pegs. One way tightens it, the other way loosens it. Here's how you can remember which way does what. If we look down on our top 2 tuning pegs, clockwise, if we turn it clockwise, that means that it will lower the pitch of the string. So, for example, I'm going to throw it out of tune. If I lower it, I'm going to turn it clockwise. Just like that. If I lower it, I'm going to turn it clockwise. Now think about your bottom 2 tuning pegs now. What happens is the opposite. If I'm looking down at my tuning pegs on the bottom, clockwise is going to raise it. Makes sense? Clockwise on top lowers, clockwise on bottom raises. It switches because the direction of the tuning pegs, or the side of the tuning pegs, switches as well. Those are the basics of tuning and note names of the strings, or the string names. Next video, we're going to be talking about specifically how do we tune this ukulele, now that it's out of tune, to get it back in tune.